Hi everyone, it's Victor speaking, and here is your weekly forecast, which is going to be including some hints and tips about how to navigate your life with the astrological energies. At the weekend, I was meant to be holding a free webinar on Pluto written in the US chart. But to be honest, I had to kind of conserve my energies because I had an operation on Monday, 2 days before the eclipse, and I think it took a little bit of a toll on my body. Now, the ancient people did believe that around the eclipse seasons, it's just better to rest, not necessarily doing much. It's just a slight uncomfortable pain, but it's a little bit harder to sit or lay down as well. So I didn't really have the full energy to prepare for it. So that's going to be held next week, Saturday. And also, I've just had way too much material to write up this week. So I feel like also Mercury and Neptune square took a toll on me. Maybe I took on a lot more than I could chew, right? But that's all right. I'm all done. I'm all set. So that's good. And another announcement, which I'm extremely happy about. Basically, Sweaty is also on my website now. So if you would like to have a reading with Sweaty, then you can also find her on my website also. So I'm quite excited about that. But without any further ado, let's get started and speak about the weekly update. Now, I kind of recommend to stay till the end because we're going to learn as well a little bit. So firstly, we're going to be speaking about Sun sextile Chiron, which is going to be happening on the 2nd of June. And on the very same day, Venus will enter the sign of Cancer. So we're going to spend a little bit of a time on that to cover what it might mean for us. And then the following day, 3rd of June, there is going to be Sun trine Saturn. And on the very same day, Mars is going to be sextiling Lilith as well. So now we're going to learn a little bit about Lilith shortly. And another aspect which we will discuss is the Mars opposing Pluto. That's going to be the very last one. And to be frank, I am a little bit... Mars is actually going to be opposing Pluto at exactly the same point where it was last year, where they had kind of the conjunction happening. So I'm quite curious to see what it might bring for us. So, but without any further ado, let's see the energies of this week. So as I said, the week starts basically with a Sun sextile Chiron. And this is a good aspect overall, because I feel like you can gain deeper insights, especially if you are willing to work on your true self. So Chiron we call Chiron as the wounded healer. Do I like that phrase? To be frank, not so much. And I'm going to tell you why. Chiron was actually the teacher of Hygie's father, the god of medicine. So, and he had some type of spiritual power. Yes, he was given the gift to heal others as well, because he was poisoned and then he wasn't able to heal himself, but he was able to heal others as well. But for me, Chiron has got a teaching quality to it as well. And surely it's not necessarily about the everyday illnesses, what Chiron really talks about. That's more to do with Hygeia. Now, Hygeia, if you don't know much about her, basically, as I said, she was the daughter of the god of medicine. And she is somehow in charge of anything to do with your everyday activities. So such as you brush your teeth and so forth, right? I'm going to be ironing my shirt. And she is all about prevention. But actually, when we get sick, that's when maybe Chiron comes into the picture a little bit. But Chiron does look at the spiritual side of things as well. So I feel like during this period, there is more like a conscious ability to dig deeper into your sense of purpose, and maybe to even reconnect with your personal fundamental way of being. So it might be the fact that sun is going to be having spotlights on your traumas and on your insecurities. And you might be able to start speaking about these traumatic experiences because you know that's part of your ego as well. Or at least this is what that sun sextile Chiron wants from you, to kind of speak about your problems, your traumatic experiences, and actually kind of getting a liberation from that. So some people actually say, and I kind of very much agree with that, that Chiron is like a Saturn-Uranus conjunction in the chart. So something to do with the past, but something also to do with the future as well. Saturn is all about facing our fears, and Uranus is getting liberated from those. So I really feel like, yes, Chiron actually acts like a Saturn-Uranus conjunction in your chart. So this is a brilliant day to do some psychological research, focusing on your self-expression, talking about things which really hurt you now or hurt you in the past, and somehow which was actually deflating your confidence level. And it might be about a little bit of an awakening as well to go after your true desire. So on the very same day, Venus will enter the sign of Cancer as well. And Cancer is the fourth zodiacal sign. That's where you usually have got your IC as well. And that's kind of like a moon territory. So we're talking about the moon territory, such as the home environment, something to do with your family, but also something which is all about your insecurities. So I usually describe the IC as the most hidden part of your self. Plenty of people might disregard the importance of IC, which I've spoken about a lot in my vocational class, because any planet around the IC could bring blockages in our career department as well, because of course it's opposing. But I usually describe the IC as the fundamental component of your psyche. So it's something which is deep within, and it kind of, whenever something happens, let's say I want to be achieving something, which is your midheaven, planets around the IC could actually hold you back, because it's kind of like your comfort zone. That's kind of like an energy what you saw from your parents. And of course, what we learn from our parents is something we can't really leave behind, even if we fight against it. So IC is not something which we should be fighting against, even if we had very bad experiences in our family, but it's more about coming to terms with them and trying to kind of get out of that controlling type of energy. So don't forget that Venus is actually out of bound as well. So it could be quite a rebellious energy in the home environment. So even though Venus is quite pleasant, and it's all about your dislikes and your likings, where with that out of bound energy, which gives a Uranian flavor to it, it could really talk about that something really wants to poke out of your psyche, out of your subconscious. And you might feel kind of like an itchiness that I want to be outside. I want to go somewhere. I want to be kind of move away, for instance. Because Venus in Cancer, it's all about seeking out safety. And we want to be having kind of an inner knowing in a very deep layer that we are safe wherever we are. So, and with the Uranus kind of flavor to this Venus, we might not be feeling too safe in our own environment. So what could also happen with this Venus in the sign of Cancer, that we somehow become stuck behind the four walls, right? And then we want to be resting a lot more. We want to be recuperating. So, Cancer is like, it makes us like a couch potato. So sitting on the sofa, watching telly, and sometimes maybe licking our wounds as well. And it's kind of not a shock for me because there is also this Chiron and Sun energy happening on the very same day. But definitely because Venus is out of bound, it is restless inside. So this might be a very good energy to cleanse your home, for instance. Even you can do some spiritual type of cleansing there. Maybe you want to be using a little bit of a sage, or it's just all about getting into your wardrobe and then seeing what I need, what I don't need. It's a brilliant day to decorate your home, maybe doing a little bit of a feng shui or just rearranging the furniture according to your likings. Very, very good energy. It's also very good because Venus at the end of the day is the planet of love. So it might be extremely good to spend some quality time with your partner at home. Maybe it's all about cooking a fantastic meal. Cancer rules the stomach, so it's brilliant to spend some time in the kitchen. However, Venus also rules over cravings, and Cancer is the stomach. So you can feel easily bloated today, and then you can be more on the overindulgent side when it comes to sweets and any type of food as well. So, Venus is like the planet of fancying something. Right. So I fancy kind of a nice environment in my home. I fancy some great homemade cooking, or it might be just that I want to be around my family. But some of you definitely will feel more of the I don't want to be around my family at the moment. I want to be somewhere else. So you might want to be paying attention to that. So, by the way, Venus will be in the sign of Cancer till the 27th of June. So it's pretty much of a little bit more than 3 weeks period. So I feel like it's very good energy to kind of clear out all the garbage that is kind of somehow infesting your space around yourself. But also it's very much about probably doing a little bit of a body cleansing as well. In ancient astrology, Cancer and the moon are so much to do with the body. And moon is something to do with healing as well. So it's very brilliant time to actually cleaning some of the, or clearing or cleaning or healing some of the ancestral lineage as well, or to address any type of issues with your parents, for instance. Because we also have got the Chiron and the Sun sextile as well, which is very much about a father figure, right? So that's also very, very possible as well. So, and of course, we do have got Jupiter and Neptune energies going on as well with the Saturn Uranus square. So definitely this energy can be utilized for a deep inner cleansing, especially in preparation for what's coming in the next cycle for you. So the next day we've got Sun trining Saturn. And I love this aspect because at the end of the day, this is all about achievement, recognition for any of your earlier efforts. Especially when Sun was actually squaring Saturn, that was about a month ago. You might have started something or you wanted to achieve and it got postponed. Now, Saturn being retrograde, but Sun trining it, actually it could give some type of result to us. It's very much about focusing on your long-term goals. Whenever Saturn is involved, it's not for now. It's always about staying well-balanced and moving step by step towards what we want to be achieving. So with Saturn, there is no point in trying to rush things, and there is no point in trying to cut corners either. This is very much about having a strong work ethic and then being determined. And actually, this could bring even promotion. It could bring even pay rise for us as well. I feel like this aspect is something where it's a lot easier to achieve our goals because these two planets now are in trine to each other, which brings in an element of mutual respect. And these two planets kind of understand each other, even though the Sun and Saturn are natural enemies. So therefore, I usually say that even though it's a trine, it still brings in some type of challenges though, because it's like having two opponents who are trying to make peace with each other, but there is that kind of like, that kind of fighting spirit within themselves, right? We still hate each other, but we are just trying to form an ally type of things. So sometimes this aspect also talks about the fact that we need to be listening to our elders. We need to be a little bit more serious, practical about what we want to be achieving. And this could be also about the ego clashes with someone who is, for instance, our superiors. And Saturn might be telling you that it's time to actually listen to them and address any type of conflict, which might have started about a month ago. I feel like also this is a brilliant time to pass on some of your knowledge as well to especially younger people. Because this Sun and Saturn trine actually can give you the possibility to be looked up to. Saturn tells you, though, that you need to have patience, right? The younger generation comes from the fact that Sun is in Gemini, which rules over youth. But we know that Gemini is a little bit of an impatient sign, right? It's like a busy bee type of energy. So it's doing 3-4 things in one go. So Saturn says, yeah, just grab their attention somehow, get them to focus, maybe in an interesting way. Trine is a Jupiterian energy, which is all about sharing some fun facts. It has got teaching qualities. So maybe in an adventurous way, we can be teaching the youth about something, but you need plenty of patience and attention to detail as well. Now, our next aspect is going to be the Lilith Mars sextile, which is going to be happening on 3rd. Now, well, I want to be speaking definitely about Lilith because even though it's just a shadow point of the moon, but I tend to call her as the planet of unhappiness. And exploring Lilith in your chart might be telling you how we can make that moon happy in our chart also. So Black Moon Lilith was the first 5 for Adam, and she learned to stood up for herself. So one of the major factors Lilith talks about in transits is to be able to stand up, speak out, and maybe sometimes scream as well. Because of course it's a female energy and it wants to be heard. Lilith is an energy which is very close to the Plutonian and Neptunian things. So in many cases with Lilith, we tend to be feeling victimized, traumatized, and boxed in. So now with that sextile to Mars is very much about focusing on your primary needs and somehow standing up for yourself. So even if it's a sextile, it's a little bit of a harder aspect because Mars can give us a kind of like an energy boost, and that Lilith could be a little bit more screaming and shouting side to it as well. But of course, the sextile also gives us an energy of playfulness. So it might be just we become a little bit more sarcastic with others. So you're going to have to pay attention to that as well, because it's easy to get into heated conversations with others, and it's very easy to kind of speak up and pour everything onto others, whatever you wanted to share. So it's very much about honesty and revealing reality to others. Also, Black Moon Lilith has got that witchy side as well. So it might be about becoming very passionate about mystical things. So I feel like when Lilith has got a transit to Mars, one of the best things you can do is just to try to turn inwards and start something which might be giving you kind of a new path. Now, of course, Mars also represents your sexual desire as well, and Lilith is also something to do with sexuality, because the story is that she didn't really want to be at the bottom in the bedroom. She actually wanted to be able to ride or as well. So kind of like taking control over the man as well. And it didn't really work in her relationship. So she kind of had to escape from that type of relationships. So our sexual desire could be um, a little bit more energetic, let's put it this way, but also it could talk about some type of rivalry in the relationship as well. So in many cases, Lilith and Mars might be something about kind of like claiming something for myself in the bedroom, and then you might feel that it was kind of an order from the partner. I kind of usually describe Lilith and Mars when we are forced to put someone else's chariot. And we get tired of that. And eventually we feel that we are maybe a sexual slave or we just, generally speaking, we are slaves in our partnerships. So we want to be kind of breaking away from that. But of course, this is a sextile, so which could really talk about, playfulness, as I said. So it might be talking about role play and swapping roles and mixing up sexual energies within the relationship. But yeah, so even though it's a sextile, it has got a little bit of a hardness around it, because sometimes Lilith and Mars thinks that the best defense is actually to attack others. So especially in men's chart, the man tends to be looking for a very dominant, self-conscious woman. And in a female's chart, Lilith and Mars very much talks about wanting a man who is kind of strong, but still gives me the opportunity to be me. So there is plenty of fear involved here, which Mars really wants to kind of pry up here. And we can really go into defense mode, and then we can actually be more attacking towards others than usual. So you might want to be paying attention to that. The females might actually devalue themselves because they don't want to be kind of living this traditional female role. And therefore, they show a lot more fierceness and dominancy within the partnership. So again, remember that we've got Venus going into the sign of Cancer, which is a very nurturing sign. But as I said, it's out of bounds. So it could really talk about the fact that we want plenty of nurturing, or we actually kind of refuse to nurture and give what our partner wants from us. So there is definitely a yearning for a strong man, but also a yearning for claiming my own strength as well. And it's not about questioning my power and my partner's power, but how can we be powerful together? So this aspect has got this Amazonian type of soul spirits. So the female roles can be a little bit challenged this week. So you might want to be paying attention to that. And the very last aspect we want to be talking about, well, actually there is a Mercury square Neptune happening on the 5th of June, but I made a separate video about that because it's a very important one. It's going to be happening 3 times. So this is actually the second hit. So all I would like to mention about that is that any Mercurian topic, we might be actually reminded to revisit. But if you want more information about that, just check that video out because I broke it down to the 12 signs as well. And so the last aspect we want to be covering today is the Mars opposition Pluto. So actually it gives us plenty of power to achieve our strongest desire. So I love this as, but it's an opposition which is all about my needs versus other people's needs. But I still like this aspect because there is plenty of passion here to achieve something. But of course, there is plenty of competitive spirit involved as well. So actually, it's very, very possible that we kind of want to be claiming victory and we don't really care about others around us. Of course, it could talk about an internal struggle as well, because you badly want to strive to reach your full potential, and at the same time you just feel that you kind of hitting the wall. And when it comes to Mars, it's Mars tends to be leaning forward a little bit when they walk, and they have got a power to their walk as well. And Mars and Aries very much represented by the ram. Right? So it's like running into a wall. And with that Pluto, we feel kind of invincible. So therefore, it's very easy to get hurt as well, emotionally and physically as well. So both of the planets have got plenty of primary survival instinct tools. So, and I call this aspect as the fight or the flight response to situations. So we can really actually channel some of our inner aggressiveness, and we can be very domineering as well. But of course, Pluto also says that if you transform your inner rage into something, actually you can really do something very creative or something which is actually fantastic. So you might feel a lot more physical strength, brilliant day to go to the gym and actually, flexing your muscles there. Mars is kind of like an entrepreneurship planet, and Pluto is the power. So that could be bringing in some type of, it could involve some business and other professional areas as well, where you might want to be more courageous. And this is a brilliant aspect to some type of manual work as well. When you need plenty of strength, at least it makes you tired. But in business world, unfortunately, this could bring some significant problems within the business, which is telling you that there is some deep transformational need to happen. So pretty much this is our weekly energies. I try to make it a little bit shorter. Sorry, but with Pluto and Mars, there is also plenty of sexual energy involved here as well. Just like with the Chiron and the Lilith and Mars energy. So I feel like the sexuality is something which is going to be a very strong topic this time around. And also, this can be coming with some sexual kind of danger as well. So it's very important to watch out for sexual transmitted diseases, who we are dating. It's easy to catch something, unfortunately, or to kind of become a victim of predators, or to become a predator as well, because we have got a very strong sexual desire towards others. And with that Pluto Mars is definitely because I want to feel like a man. So the key to this aspect is all about trying to take the heat off somehow from this violent energy and putting it into something which requires plenty of stamina. Now, as I said, why it's important is because Pluto at the moment is opposing the Saturn, Jupiter, Mars conjunction point back in 2020 as well. So this, and because it's in the sign of Cancer at the moment, it could really relate somehow to food businesses. So maybe we're going to be experiencing again that some of the shelves are going to be running out of food, right? And somehow your survival instincts are switching on. So we start shopping in bulks. So this is our weekly energy. I hope you have enjoyed it, and see you next week. Take care. Bye-bye.